think is Tia has seen what is out there. Tia has caught a few fish and she'd had to throw them back in the ocean. Just last month, Tia was saying that dating is difficult and how men don't want to court women anymore. And I think she might have looked around and said, you know what, Cory may be all right.
Tia Mowry, a very surprising tweet the other day, okay? She says on Twitter, I know that love will find me again. I was a little shocked by that because I'm like, sweetie, love is still here. Your husband, who's still your husband, wants you to come home.
Girl, Tia Mowry is finally waking up to a tough reality. There is nothing waiting for her out in these streets. She keeps posting video after video, literally in tears, saying she is ready for real love and claiming nobody out here is trying to seriously court her. Now, reports are floating around saying she is even asking Cory Hardrict to give their marriage another shot and take her back. But baby, that train left the station a long time ago.
It's not easy going through a divorce. This just doesn't feel good. And I feel alone. I got tired of people thinking that everything was perfect when it was. You want to know what really happened? I'll tell you. It ain't in a headline.
Have you noticed how Miss Tia Mowry just cannot stop talking about healing and finding love ever since the divorce from Cory Hardrict? Every interview, every clip, every conversation somehow circles back to that same topic, and people are starting to raise their eyebrows about it. When Tia and Cory got married back in 2008, they really looked like the blueprint for a strong marriage. They openly talked about how marriage takes effort every single day and how choosing the same partner again and again is not always easy. They made it clear that love requires work, patience, and commitment. That is exactly why so many people were completely shocked when the sudden announcement dropped that they were getting divorced after nearly 20 years together. Soon after the split became public, Tia went on what felt like a non-stop press run. Interview after interview, she told anyone willing to listen that the divorce was the best thing that could have happened to her and that she was ready to live life on her own terms. Meanwhile, Cory was catching heavy criticism online, and he eventually had to step forward and say clearly that he did not cheat. While Cory was quietly dealing with the separation, Tia was out here describing their marriage as a curriculum and the divorce as a graduation.
You know, my marriage was a success.
Yeah.
I look at it as like a curriculum when you're in college or high school, right? You're learning, you're growing, you're evolving, you're creating. And I was able to create with Cory some beautiful, amazing children.
Yeah.
And at the end of that curriculum, and at the end, there's a graduation, there's a celebration.
Now listen, divorce is usually not something people celebrate. There are situations where someone feels relief because of what they experienced during a marriage, and that does happen. But the way things looked in this situation had a lot of people side-eyeing the comments Tia made. When she called the marriage a curriculum, some people felt like that sounded like subtle shade toward Cory, almost like he had not been standing there trying to make the relationship work the whole time. Think about it. Cory and Tia were together for about 14 years. They built a family and they shared 2 children. During all those years, the public never heard stories about him stepping out on her or doing anything embarrassing that would disrespect their marriage. Not one serious scandal ever popped up around him. And before the divorce papers were even fully finalized, Tia was already speaking publicly about being ready for the next great love of her life. That had the internet looking confused, because technically she was still married while those conversations were happening. Meanwhile, whenever Cory was asked how he was handling the separation, he stayed calm and respectful. He never threw shade at her and always kept his responses polite and decent.
You know, it's tough when it feels like you're going through something alone and no one understands and, you know, no one's there for you. And it's just like, you know, you're a man, especially a black man. They're like, oh, he's tough, he's strong. But you know, it was a year and a half crying myself to sleep every night. You know, nobody see that.
Yeah.
Nobody see that.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, you live 5 minutes away from your babies, you know what I'm saying? Because people who know Cory Hardrict know that his kids and his family was everything to him.
Ever since that whole curriculum and graduation moment, Tia Mowry has been very open about her life after the divorce. Every time she jumps on social media, she talks about how happy she is, how she is embracing this new chapter, and how she's fully stepping into what she calls her single woman era. According to her posts, she has been focusing on growth, peace, and rediscovering herself after the end of her marriage. Her pages have been filled with videos about healing, self-love, and learning how to enjoy life again. She shares clips talking about independence, finding joy in everyday moments, and building a life that feels right for her. In many of those posts, she repeats the same message, that she is thriving and finally living life on her own terms. But the internet has been watching closely, and some people feel like the tone of the conversation has slowly started to shift. In the beginning, the message sounded very confident and celebratory. It was all about freedom, growth, and stepping into a new phase of life. Supporters cheered her on, saying it was great to see someone speak openly about starting over. However, as time has gone on, the conversation around love and dating has started popping up more and more in her videos. Instead of just talking about independence, she has also been sharing thoughts about wanting real companionship again and hoping to meet someone who truly wants to build something meaningful with her. That is where many viewers started paying closer attention, because while the idea of a fresh start sounds exciting, the reality of dating again after a long marriage can be a very different experience. Tia spent many years in a committed relationship, building a family and a life with one person. Jumping back into the modern dating world after all that time can feel like stepping into a completely different environment. People online have pointed out that dating today moves fast, and the expectations are not always the same as they were years ago. Finding someone who is serious about commitment, especially when you already have an established life and children, can take patience and time. It's not always as simple as meeting the right person overnight. Some viewers have even said that her recent videos feel a little more emotional compared to the earlier ones. Instead of just celebrating independence, there are moments where she talks about wanting real love again and hoping someone out there is willing to truly court her the right way. So while the single girl era sounded exciting at first, many people feel like Tia is now seeing the other side of that journey. Being single, divorced, and raising 2 children while trying to find a genuine relationship is not always the smooth ride people imagine. It takes time, patience, and a lot of trial and error before the right connection shows up. When Tia Mowry announced that she would be releasing a new reality series called Tia Mowry: My Next Act, a lot of people immediately leaned in with curiosity. Viewers assumed this show would finally open the door to the real story behind the divorce from Cory Hardrict. After all, the breakup of a marriage that lasted more than a decade had shocked many fans, so naturally, people expected some honest reflection about what really happened behind closed doors. For nearly 3 years now, Tia has spoken publicly about growth, healing, independence, and starting fresh. She has shared plenty of thoughts about rediscovering herself, learning new things about life, and embracing her new chapter. But one topic that always seemed to stay just out of reach was the actual reason she decided the marriage had reached its final point. So when the reality show was announced, people believed that this was finally the moment where the full story might come out. Reality television usually promises raw conversations and personal moments, so fans assumed viewers would get a deeper look into what was really going on in the relationship before the split happened. A lot of viewers expected to hear about the real challenges in the marriage. They thought the show might explore what the relationship looked like during its difficult moments, what led to the final decision to separate, and how both partners handled those struggles. After such a public relationship, people were naturally curious about the full picture. Another reason expectations were so high is because Tia has been very vocal about life after the divorce. Over time, the conversation around her public image has started to center heavily on being single, rediscovering herself, and navigating life on her own again. Her social media content, interviews, and appearances often focus on that same theme of independence and personal growth. Because of that, many viewers thought the reality show would balance that message with more honesty about what the marriage itself was really like. People wanted to understand both sides of the story, not just the life after the breakup, but also the relationship that existed before everything changed. But once the show started rolling out, some viewers felt like those deeper conversations never fully happened. Instead of diving into the specific issues that led to the divorce, the show seemed to stay focused on the present moment, personal healing, and moving forward. While that message may have been meaningful for some fans, others felt like the opportunity to address the bigger questions was completely missed. Online discussions quickly started popping up, with many people saying the show danced around the topic that everyone was actually curious about. Instead of providing clarity about what went wrong in the marriage, the story stayed centered on the next phase of her life. For viewers who were hoping for a more open conversation about the relationship with Cory and what truly led to the split, the show simply did not deliver the kind of answers they expected.
Last relationship, when dating was, when I was dating this person, it was beautiful. It was amazing. It was wonderful. There was courting that was, involved. And I was saying how I feel like that's no longer, present, meaning like people just don't court each other anymore. And this person was like, well, that's old news. Like people just don't do that anymore. There's just this whole new way of doing things. And I'm like, you mentioned tradition, and I think that's where it kind of needs to go back to.
On the show, Tia did allow viewers to see a few emotional moments here and there. There were brief scenes where she talked about feeling vulnerable and adjusting to life after such a long relationship. But those moments did not stay on the screen for very long before the focus quickly shifted toward her getting back out into the world and exploring her new life. Instead of digging deeper into the history of the marriage or having honest conversations about Cory, the show mostly stayed away from that topic. His name barely came up, and the relationship that lasted for so many years was almost treated like a chapter that had already been closed and locked away. What ended up getting more attention on the show was the tension between Tia and her sister. The storyline around their relationship suddenly became one of the main sources of drama. Viewers watched awkward conversations and emotional discussions between the two, which left some people wondering why that topic was getting more focus than the marriage that everyone was curious about. Some viewers even started saying that it felt like the show was trying to keep things light and entertaining instead of addressing the deeper questions. Reality shows often rely on family tension and emotional conversations to keep audiences interested, so some people felt like the sister drama was being used as the main hook for the season. But many fans felt that if there was ever a moment for Tia to be completely open about what really happened in her marriage, that show was the perfect place to do it. The cameras were there, the audience was watching, and people were ready to hear her side of the story. Instead, the opportunity came and went without those details ever being fully discussed. Because of that, some viewers began saying that it might have been time for Tia to step back from constantly speaking as the public voice of divorce, healing, and searching for love. When someone talks so often about a life transition, people naturally expect a certain level of honesty and reflection about what led to that change in the first place. But if there is one thing people have noticed about Tia over the years, it is that she is very comfortable in the spotlight. She enjoys sharing her life, her thoughts, and her experiences with the public. So the idea that she would suddenly disappear and quietly date without sharing anything was never very likely. Not long ago, she posted another video online saying that she was officially ready for love again. In the clip, she explained that after spending time working on herself, her therapist had given her the green light to start dating again. At first, some viewers thought the video might be teasing something bigger. People started wondering if it was a preview for another reality show, a new project, or maybe even the introduction of a new relationship. But once the clip ended, many realized it was simply another announcement about her being ready to find love again. The video quickly started making rounds online, and people had plenty to say about it. In the clip, Tia looked confident and upbeat as she talked about stepping back into the dating world. She explained that she had spent time focusing on herself, working through emotions, and growing as a person. According to her, the healing process had reached a point where she finally felt ready to open her heart again. But the internet did not react the way she might have expected. Instead of everyone celebrating the announcement, a lot of viewers seemed confused by the constant updates about her search for love. Some people started asking the same question over and over again: why does every step of this journey need to be announced publicly? For many fans, it was not the idea of her dating again that raised eyebrows. Most people agree that after a divorce, moving forward and eventually finding love again is completely normal. The part that had people talking was the way every stage of that process seemed to turn into another big social media moment. First, it was the posts about entering her single era. Then came the conversations about healing and rediscovering herself. After that came the discussions about wanting to be courted and finding a partner who truly understands her. Now, the newest chapter was the announcement that she had received the green light from her therapist to start dating again. Some viewers joked that the audience had been hearing about this journey step by step for years now. Others said it felt like the same conversation just kept coming back around with slightly different wording each time. The message was always about growth, love, and the possibility of a new relationship somewhere down the road. At the same time, there were also people who defended her. They pointed out that everyone handles divorce differently, and some individuals prefer to share their experiences openly. For public figures especially, social media often becomes a place where they document personal milestones and connect with their audience. Still, the reactions online showed that not everyone was convinced by the latest video. Some viewers felt like the announcement created more questions than excitement. Instead of looking like a big reveal, the clip left people wondering if this was simply another moment meant to keep the conversation going. And that is where the situation started getting even more interesting. Because while Tia was publicly talking about being ready for love again, many people could not help but notice that Cory had taken a completely different approach since the divorce. He had remained mostly quiet, focusing on his work, his family, and keeping his personal life away from constant public discussion. That contrast between the two approaches is something the internet definitely noticed, and it only added another layer to the ongoing conversation surrounding their split.
Just saying, I just want someone to hold. And someone told me and to hug me, and what's wrong with wanting that?
Nothing wrong with that. You're lonely.
While Tia has been very open about her journey after the divorce, Cory Hardrict has taken a completely different route. Instead of posting emotional updates or speaking publicly about dating, he has mostly stayed quiet and focused on his career and his role as a father. That contrast has not gone unnoticed by people watching everything play out online. Since the separation, Cory has appeared in interviews from time to time, but whenever the topic of the divorce comes up, he keeps his answers respectful and brief. He does not dive into details or try to stir up drama. Most of the time, he simply says that he still has love and respect for Tia and that his main priority is their children. That approach has earned him a lot of support from people who feel like he handled the situation with maturity. Instead of turning the breakup into a public back and forth, he chose to move quietly and keep things peaceful. In an era where celebrity splits often turn into messy headlines, that calm attitude stood out to many observers. Meanwhile, every time Tia posts another video talking about relationships, the internet cannot help but compare the two paths they have taken since the divorce. One side has been very public, emotional, and open about the search for love. The other side has been much more private and low-key. This difference has sparked all kinds of discussions online. Some people say Tia is simply expressing herself and sharing her experience, which she has every right to do. Others feel like constantly talking about finding love can start to sound repetitive, especially when it becomes such a big part of the conversation surrounding her life. There are also viewers who believe that the situation highlights how complicated life can become after a long marriage ends. When two people separate after spending so many years together, their paths forward rarely look the same. One person might choose to talk openly about the journey, while the other might prefer to process things quietly. Still, the internet always has opinions, and this situation has been no exception. Every time a new video appears or another interview clip circulates, people jump into the comments with their thoughts about what they believe is really going on behind the scenes. Some even speculate that the constant discussion about love might be a sign that Tia is still adjusting to life after such a long relationship. After spending many years married, stepping into the dating world again can feel unfamiliar and overwhelming. It's a major shift that takes time to navigate. At the end of the day, both of them are clearly moving forward in their own ways. Tia continues to share her thoughts and experiences with the public, while Cory keeps most of his personal life out of the spotlight. But with every new video, interview, or post, the conversation around their divorce seems to keep coming back, and people are still watching closely to see what happens next. As the months keep passing, the conversation around Tia's dating life continues to grow louder online. Every time she posts another clip about relationships or talks about wanting to meet someone who is serious about her, the comment sections fill up fast with people sharing their opinions. Some viewers say they understand exactly where she is coming from. After spending many years married, it is natural to eventually want companionship again. Starting over in the dating world can feel exciting, hopeful, and even a little scary at the same time. For many people watching, that part of her journey feels relatable. But other people online have started pointing out something interesting. They say that when the divorce first happened, the message coming from Tia was very different. Back then, the focus was heavily on independence, personal growth, and stepping into a brand new chapter without needing anyone else. Now, the tone seems to be shifting more toward wanting partnership again. Instead of only talking about freedom and rediscovering herself, more of the conversation revolves around finding someone who is ready to truly court her and build something meaningful together. That shift has not gone unnoticed by the audience. Some people say it simply shows how life evolves and how feelings can change over time. Others think it highlights how complicated the transition from a long marriage into single life can really be. There are also viewers who feel like social media might be adding extra pressure to the situation. When someone shares every stage of their personal journey publicly, it invites constant opinions from strangers. Every post becomes something that people analyze, debate, and sometimes even criticize. And in Tia's case, the audience has been watching closely since the day the divorce was announced. Because the relationship lasted so long and appeared so stable from the outside, many people are still trying to understand how everything shifted so quickly. Some commenters even say that the public might be expecting answers that may never fully come. Relationships are complicated, and not every detail of a marriage can be explained in interviews or social media posts. Sometimes the full story stays between the two people who experienced it. Still, curiosity around the situation remains strong. Fans who watched their relationship for years are naturally interested in how both of them move forward, especially when one side continues to speak openly about searching for love again. For now, Tia seems determined to keep sharing her journey, whether people agree with it or question it. She continues posting about healing, dating, and personal growth, making it clear that she is still hopeful about what the future might bring. And with every new post or video, the conversation starts all over again, with the internet watching, reacting, and trying to figure out what the next chapter of this story will look like. What has made the conversation even louder is the fact that many people still remember how strong Tia and Cory appeared as a couple for so many years. They were often seen as one of those relationships that looked solid, supportive, and built to last. Interviews, red carpet appearances, and family moments all gave the impression of a partnership that was grounded and steady. That is exactly why the divorce announcement caught so many fans off guard. From the outside looking in, there were no major public scandals, no explosive headlines, and no obvious warning signs that things were falling apart. One day they were celebrating their life together, and the next day people were reading that the marriage was coming to an end. Because of that, the curiosity surrounding the split has never really gone away. When something ends after so many years, people naturally start wondering what changed behind the scenes. They want to understand the turning point that made someone decide the relationship had reached its limit. But instead of getting those details, the public conversation has mostly stayed centered on life after the divorce. The focus has been on growth, independence, therapy, dating, and the search for a new relationship. While those topics are important, some viewers still feel like a major part of the story remains unanswered. That lingering curiosity is part of the reason every new video from Tia creates such a big reaction online. When she talks about being ready for love again or finding someone who wants to truly commit, the audience immediately connects those comments back to the marriage that ended. Some people even say that the situation shows how difficult it can be to move forward when a relationship played out in front of the public for so long. Fans who watch the relationship grow feel invested in the story, and they continue trying to piece together what really happened. Meanwhile, others believe the focus should simply be on the future. They argue that both Tia and Cory deserve the space to rebuild their lives in whatever works best for them. After all, divorce is a major life change, and everyone processes that shift differently. Still, as long as Tia keeps sharing updates about her search for love, the internet will probably keep reacting. Social media moves fast, and every new clip or interview instantly becomes a topic of discussion. Right now, it seems like she is determined to keep speaking openly about her experiences, even if the reactions are mixed. Whether people support her approach or question it, one thing is clear: the conversation around her life after divorce is not slowing down anytime soon. And as this next chapter continues to unfold, many people are still watching closely to see whether love really does show up for her the way she hopes it will.
Hey, I'm doing okay. I truly feel like I'm really taking care of little Tia. These past 3 years. Oh my God, I'm about to cry. Sorry. I really feel like in these past 3 years, I have gotten to know myself. There have been lots of moments of solitude and silence, but I feel like that is where growth happens. What my therapist told me, she said, Tia, you've done a lot of healing. You've done a lot of growing, and you've done a lot of reading. And now it's time for you to get out there and to apply what you have learned. I'm ready. I'm ready to fall in love again. Like, I am ready for love.
Another reason this whole situation keeps getting attention is because people have started comparing what Tia says she wants in a relationship now to the marriage she already had. Every time she talks about wanting a man who will truly value her, support her, and show real commitment, the internet quickly points out that Cory appeared to be doing many of those things during their years together. For a long time, Cory had a reputation for being a supportive husband who stayed out of trouble and focused on his family. He regularly spoke about how much he loved his wife and children, and he often praised Tia in interviews. That is why some viewers feel confused when they hear conversations that seem to suggest she is still searching for those same qualities. This is where the online debates really start heating up. Some people say that what the public saw was only a small part of their relationship, and that no one truly knows what a marriage looks like behind closed doors. From that point of view, it is completely possible that there were deeper issues the public never saw. Others, however, believe the situation looks different from the outside. They argue that if someone spends years building a stable relationship with a partner who appears supportive, walking away from that kind of foundation is a serious decision. Naturally, that choice leaves people wondering what changed. Because those answers have never been fully explained, the speculation online continues to grow. Comment sections fill up with people sharing theories, personal opinions, and different interpretations of the story. Some viewers even think that constant discussion about dating again might be part of Tia trying to redefine her public image. After being known for years as part of a well-known couple, stepping into a completely new identity can take time. Suddenly, the focus shifts from being part of a duo to standing fully on your own. That kind of transition can be challenging, especially when millions of people are watching every move and reacting in real time. Every statement becomes a headline, every video becomes a debate, and every small update gets picked apart by the internet. At the same time, there are still many supporters who continue cheering her on. They say that rebuilding life after a divorce takes courage, and they appreciate that she is willing to speak openly about therapy, healing, and personal growth. In their eyes, sharing those experiences might help others who are going through similar changes. No matter which side people fall on, one thing is clear. The story surrounding Tia's post-divorce journey has turned into an ongoing conversation that keeps evolving. Each new update adds another layer to the discussion. And with Tia continuing to talk about being ready for love again, the audience remains curious about whether the next chapter of her life will finally bring the kind of relationship she keeps saying she is looking for. Another reason this situation keeps getting so much attention is because people have started comparing what Tia says she wants in a man now to the marriage she already had with Cory. Every time she talks about wanting a partner who values her, supports her, and shows real commitment, the internet quickly points out that Cory seemed to check many of those same boxes during their years together. For a long time, Cory built a reputation as a steady and supportive husband. He stayed focused on his work, his family, and keeping his personal life drama-free. In interviews, he often spoke highly of Tia and made it clear that his wife and kids meant everything to him. That is exactly why some viewers pause when they hear conversations that make it sound like those qualities were missing. This is where the debate online really starts heating up. Some people say the public only saw the polished version of their relationship. They argue that no one truly knows what a marriage looks like behind closed doors. From that perspective, it is completely possible there were deeper issues that never made it to the public. But others see things a little differently. They believe that when two people spend years building a family and maintaining what appears to be a strong partnership, walking away from that foundation is a huge decision. Naturally, when a relationship that long comes to an end, people start wondering what moment finally pushed things over the edge. Because those details haven't been fully explained, the speculation just keeps growing. Every time the topic comes up online, comment sections fill up fast with people sharing theories, opinions, and different takes on what they think might have happened. Some viewers even believe the constant talk about dating and finding love again might be part of Tia reshaping how people see her. For many years, she was known as half of a well-known couple. Now the focus is shifting toward her life as an independent woman building a new identity on her own. And that kind of change is not always easy, especially when millions of people are watching and reacting to every little update. One video turns into a headline. One comment becomes a debate. Suddenly, every small moment gets analyzed by the internet. At the same time, she still has plenty of supporters standing behind her. Many fans say starting over after a long marriage takes strength, and they respect that she is openly talking about therapy, healing, and personal growth along the way. No matter where people stand on the issue, one thing is obvious. The story around Tia's life after divorce has turned into an ongoing conversation that keeps evolving. Every new post, interview, or video adds another layer to the discussion. And as she continues speaking about being ready for love again, many people are still watching closely, curious to see whether the next chapter of her life will finally bring the relationship she keeps saying she wants.
We have known Tia ever since her sister days, and because she has been on our screens for so long, you would think people would automatically support everything she says about this healing journey. But lately, a lot of folks online are not really buying it anymore. The audience that grew up watching her is now watching this whole situation play out, and many of them are starting to question whether what she truly needed was a divorce or some very serious and consistent therapy to work through things. From the outside looking in, people keep pointing to the same thing. She walked away from a man who many believed was attractive, supportive, and committed to his family. There were never major public scandals around him, no embarrassing headlines, and no stories about him disrespecting the marriage. By most public accounts, Cory looked like a supportive husband and a dedicated father. That is why some viewers believe she simply wanted to step outside the marriage and see if life had something different waiting for her. The idea was that maybe the grass might be greener somewhere else. But now people online are joking that once she stepped outside, she realized the field was not greener at all. In fact, some say it looked dry and empty. One argument that keeps popping up is that Cory was her first serious relationship and first love. Because of that, some people believe she may have felt like she missed out on certain experiences before settling down. After spending so many years in one relationship, she may have wondered what life and dating would feel like outside of that marriage. Even when people suggested that the two of them should try to work things out instead of walking away, she stood firm in her decision. At the time, she made it clear that she was not planning to go backward just because the dating world might be complicated. As she explained it, "Just because the dating life is complicated doesn't mean I'm going to go back to something that no longer serves me. That's like saying if I don't book an audition or part as an actor right away, I'm going to give up on my dreams. Please just stop. I ain't that weak. Please move on because I have. Thank you, next." But since making those strong statements, many viewers feel like the tone has started to shift. People say it is one thing to focus on self-love, healing, and spiritual growth. But even after all of that work, the reality of the dating world can still be tough. Some online commenters joke that the streets can still leave someone feeling lonely, no matter how much healing they say they have done. At the same time, reports suggest that Cory has already started moving forward with his own life. According to various discussions online, he has been focusing on himself, even upgrading his smile with the help of a well-known cosmetic dentist as he steps back into the dating world. Sources also claim he has been meeting new people and keeping things moving. If those rumors are true, some people believe it might only be a matter of time before someone new appears in his life, and the internet is definitely watching closely to see what happens next. Meanwhile, reactions online continue to pour in. Some viewers say they are tired of hearing constant announcements about being ready for love again. Others argue that healing and dating after a long marriage can be confusing and everyone handles it differently. One commenter even wrote, "Imagine ending your marriage with a quiet, drama-free man and then spending years talking about it online." That comment alone sparked another wave of debate. At the end of the day, the big question people keep asking is simple. If the divorce happened because she was unhappy, then has that happiness truly shown up yet? What do you think about the situation? Do you think Tia should keep sharing every stage of her dating journey publicly, or would it be better for her to move quietly and keep that part of her life private? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe so you do not miss the next discussion.